know that we're starting to clear out the area back there in the narthex so that you can come more often. And if you have kiddos that are a little restless, you'll have an area to take them. We'll have some volunteers hanging out there with you. That's going to coming in a couple of weeks, actually. So just want you guys to know. Now, today we do have our ceremony that we always have for All Souls Day or All Saints Day, whichever one we want to use, whichever title we want to use, which means we usually have a shorter sermon. Don't clap. Don't applaud. But then I'll tell you what we're going to do. And, it was nice to run off for a week. Thank you all for letting me run off for a week. And I love you all, but sometimes you just got to get away. And it's getting away from physical spaces, finding a new place to be that helps kind of renew your mind, your energy. Sometimes you just have to ride off into the sunset and find a happy place. Especially these days when there's so much stress, so much anxiety in the world. Every day we get up and hear the terrible news while we drink our morning coffee. Then we go to the grocery store and find more terrible news there when we can't afford the food that we want. We go to work and face other humans who are sometimes difficult to work with. We scroll through our phones, we find all kinds of crazy things, half of which we don't even know if it's real anymore. Even videos, thanks to AI. We have petty squabbles with our family, our friends, even our spouses. We worry about conversations that we had years ago and keep replaying them in our memory, wishing we had said something different. Anyone else do that? Oh, yeah. Our minds and our souls get really full of clutter. And we have to clean out the attic every now and then. Recently, I've been thinking that I just don't laugh enough. What, are you laughing at my attic? Yeah, my attic's pretty bad. Cammy fell out of the attic? Oh, okay. I'm going to have to hear that story later. But, recently I've been thinking that I just don't laugh enough anymore. Just don't have plain fun anymore. And I only have myself to blame because I don't make space for humor, for silliness, for just plain joy. I use up all my time worrying. And there's something of a conscious choice there. Even with my anxiety problems, there is a choice that I can sometimes make. And it's just a horrible waste of time of the abundant life that Jesus wants for us, right? To spend it all worrying. So I wanted to share this brilliant epiphany with you, that you should have fun every now and then. That's a brilliant epiphany. I wanted to share that with you today, but then I remember this is All Souls Day. It's not usually a time for uplifting messages about self-care, or for talking about comedy movies, or talking and laughing with friends around a fire. No, today's for mourning those we love and miss. And we usually take a very serious, kind of somber tone today. Mariah and I went to the lake last week. And if you grew up in the South or the Midwest, you probably also have a place you just call the lake, right? It's just the lake. For us, it's Nolan Lake in Kentucky, where Mariah's dad has a home right there on the lake. And it's a fun place. What happens at the lake stays at the lake. There's always a lot of laughing, good-natured teasing, practical jokes. Pretty much anything is game up there, from fishing, scavenger hunts, to golf cart poker runs. That's what we participated in this past week. It's a great place for fun, but it's also a great place just to feel the cool air, see the peaceful water, and see the leaves starting to change for fall. While we were there, we saw a lot of reminders of Mariah's stepmom, Donna. And you guys maybe remember, some of you remember praying for her, Mama D, who had breast cancer. And she's been gone for over 1.5 years now. A lot of pictures, her favorite knickknacks hanging around, funny signs in the gazebo in the hen house, as they called it. It felt sort of sad to see those things. Reminders of a loved one that's gone home to God. Tangible reminders, things you can touch that remind us of their presence that we so deeply miss, and whom that whole lake community, who is such a close-knit neighborhood, person that they all miss. But I found something else out too while I was there. I found out that people in the neighborhood still talk about the funeral. You still talk about the funeral. Almost 2 years later, they still talk about that day. And they don't remember it as sad. They remember it as beautiful and unique, filled with the joy that characterized Donna's life. Now, they absolutely grieve for her still, but there's something else in the mourning process. For folks around the lake, their mourning is turned into joy. And that's pretty profound. These are not a bunch of mystics or monks or philosophers or counselors. They're mostly a bunch of retirees that make a lot of dirty jokes and drink a lot of beer. But they're touching on something. They're touching on something that a lot of us miss because they're able to grieve her, but they have fun doing it. She lives on in their community, even because she never truly leaves. Not as long as her memory is still with them. It simply doesn't leave. We sometimes get so preoccupied with death that we forget life. If we forget to live abundantly as Jesus wanted us to. We worry and we fret and we miss loved ones who have gone home to God. But we also have to remember what the letter to Ephesians says today. In him you also, when you had heard the word of truth, the gospel of your salvation, and had believed in him, were marked with the seal of the promised Holy Spirit. This is the pledge of our inheritance toward redemption as God's own people to the praise of his glory. If we have patience, faith, and hope, then we can turn our mourning into joy in holy celebration of lives lived abundantly. And it's in that spirit that we move now to honor those people. You submitted names of people that you wanted to remember today, all of you that were on the email list. And those names are going to be read aloud. And with each name, the bell will be rung. And when you hear your loved one's name read, please come forward and light a candle. And you're welcome to take a long match, light it from the Christ candle because that is Christ's love right there. And then to light a candle in remembrance of your loved one from the light of Christ.